DIC undertakes services such as panels, Abraham's Table, Helping Hands, Community Talk Series, Quran Studies, Family Friendship Programs, Ramadan Iftar Dinners. The panel today is the third of the panel series DIC has been organizing. As a Muslim organization, we believe that we have an obligation to find peace, first in ourselves individually, then struggle for peace in our surroundings, and finally leave a peaceful world to our children. With that intention, we decided to organize this panel on civic peace building against fanaticism. Unfortunately, 2 weeks after we made this decision, we heard the news on the shocking tragedy in Norway, and this made us think how urgent and how important it is to launch a peace campaign against all sorts of fanaticism which is threatening at least our psychological well-being. In addition to recognizing any individual effort in this endeavor, the DIC would like to bring into attention the impact of collective efforts and the importance of civic movements in building a peaceful world. We believe that the peaceful efforts should be as big in magnitude as the destructive, violent efforts that we have been a victim of. We hope that this panel serves its purpose in being a peaceful voice saying, Salaam alaikum, may peace be with you. The way the panel will flow is as follows. Each panelist will have 20 minutes to share their views on the subject. After the last speaker, we will have 30 minutes for questions and answers. Let me quickly introduce the speakers, our panelists. Our first speaker is Reverend Dr. George Mason. Dr. George Mason is the pastor of Wilshire Baptist Church in Dallas, Texas. He is a nationally recognized leader among Baptists, serving the Cooperative Baptist Fellowship, Baptist General Convention of Texas, Texas Baptists Committed, Wright Divinity School at Texas Christian University, Duke University Divinity School, and Children's Medical Center of Dallas. Dr. Mason has given keynote addresses at meetings of the CBF and BGCT, as well as the Fund for Theological Education. He has been a featured preacher on the nationally syndicated radio broadcast Day One. Dr. Mason earned a Bachelor of Business Administration degree in 1978 from the University of Miami, Florida, where he was a quarterback on the football team. He also holds both the Master of Divinity, 1982, and Doctor of Philosophy, 1987 degrees from Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary in Fort Worth, Texas. His doctoral field of study was systematic theology with a minor in philosophy of religion. Our second speaker is Dr. Mark Chancey. Dr. Chancey attended the University of Georgia, where he earned a BA in political science with a minor in religion, 1990, and an MA in religion, 1992. He entered Duke University's graduate program in religion in 1993, where he focused on New Testament studies and early Judaism. While at Duke, he participated in excavations in Israel at Sepphoris, an important ancient city 3 miles from Nazareth. He earned his PhD from Duke in 1999 and joined the faculty of the Department of Religious Studies at SMU in 2000. His research interests include the Gospels, the historical Jesus, archaeology and the Bible, and the political and social history of Palestine during the Roman period. His 2 books on Galilee integrate archaeological and literary evidence to demonstrate that 1st century CE Galilee was overwhelmingly Jewish. Dr. Chancey is currently serving as chair of the Department of Religious Studies. Our last speaker is Mr. Bashir Ahmed Ansari. Mr. Ansari was born in Afghanistan. In 1992, he graduated from the Department of Law at the Omdurman Islamic University in Omdurman, Sudan. After the graduation, he enrolled in the Khartoum International Institute for Arabic and earned his master's in the field of teaching Arabic to non-Arabs. He was then appointed as First Secretary of Afghanistan Embassy in Khartoum. After 1 year of his service, he was sent to Afghanistan Embassy in Tripoli to work as the charge d'affaires of Afghanistan and represent his country in Libya. By the rise of internal conflicts between various Afghan political groups, he left government service by his own will and moved to US. In 2006, he completed his master's degree in political science at San Francisco State University. Beşir Ansari has contributed about more than 100 articles on international politics, political theory, religion, culture, language, etc. in various journals, magazines, and newspapers. He has also authored the following books: Afghanistan in the Blaze of Oil, Untold Facts; Tyranny, the Main Illness of Our Political Society; Tribal Mentality; Woman in the Scale of Islamic Political Theory; Who Are We? Political Legitimacy in the Octopus of Force and Falsehood; Teaching Arabic in Islamic Schools in the United States, Problems and Proposed Solutions; and Cultural Obstacles to Democracy in Afghanistan. Now I would like to invite Dr. McLemore from SMU to give us his welcoming speech.
On behalf of Southern Methodist University and President R. Gerald Turner, as well as Dean William Lawrence of Perkins School of Theology, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the second forum that we've been privileged to host along with the Dallas Islamic Center. We extend a special welcome to our guests, Dr. Chancey Mason and Mr. Ansari, who will be joining us shortly, as was mentioned, and as well to our other distinguished guests. I'm Tim McLemore, Associate Director of Public Affairs. Dr. Robert Hunt, Director of our Global Theological Education Program, was scheduled to be with you tonight. Unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond his control, he's not going to be able to join us until a little bit later this evening. And so he has asked on his behalf that I take a moment to share these thoughts that he wrote down for us. And so I offer these to you on behalf of Dr. Hunt. There's never been a society without some measure of civil strife and criminal violence. The inevitable conflicts of divergent interests and needs should not, however, make us lose hope of building what my own Quaker forefathers called the peaceable kingdom. Nor should the fact that our present society is one of the most peaceful and safe in the history of the world make us complacent about the need to do better. Clifford Geertz has pointed out in his essay, The World in Pieces, Culture and Politics at the End of the Century, that we live in a time in which personal and communal identities are in a state of great flux, and new identities are emerging. A mere century ago, no one would have called himself or herself a Yugoslavian or an Israeli or a Palestinian. And if one of these identities has already passed from history, the others may only now be fully emerging. This is no less true in the United States, where even what it means to be an American is both contested and sometimes uncertain. Fanaticism, as I understand it, says Dr. Hunt, is almost always a strange combination of a single-minded and narrow sense of identity, combined with a claim that this identity should be not only universally recognized, but universally embraced. It is the desire for a monoculture and leads to either oppression or violence or both. The solution is what has come to be called civil society, or that shared attitude and agreement that the unity of society embraces complex diversities of opinion and behavior within a framework of shared concerns and goals. Building such a civil society does not depend, however, on simple abstract theorizing. It depends on civic institutions that foster within themselves these attitudes and agreements and work with one another toward whatever shared goals are appropriate to their purposes. My own emphasis, Dr. Hunt concludes, has been on institutional support for education and interreligious dialogue. We look forward to hearing from the panelists how they see this occurring, and of course we're sure there will be vigorous and fruitful discussion. So again, we welcome you and thank you for your warmth.